Hey guys, it's Lisa here, doing my Facebook Live with you guys. It's my first one, so I'm gonna ask that you guys be gentle with me. This might have technical difficulties. I've literally never turned this thing on before, so let's see how it goes. First, I just wanted to say thank you for showing up. There will be a replay after if you guys are at work or in a different time zone or couldn't jump on. I know some people are trying to listen in their car. Thank you for your support, no matter where you are. Just to introduce myself, my name is Lisa McCarthy. I run an online basically a community to try and give information to you guys about starting and growing your own clothing line. I'm really here to serve up content for you guys because I'm super passionate about supporting other entrepreneurs in following their dreams. And I have vast experience in the fashion industry. I've been working in it for the past 15 years and really want to pass that knowledge on to some people that are just getting started and don't know what they don't know and are stumbling along the way. So here to help you guys out today. What we are going to be talking about is how to generate a compelling product idea that you are crazy about. I know there's been some talk in the Facebook group about people that aren't super clear on what they want to deliver. They know they want to do something, but they don't know what it is. So I'm going to walk you through some things today to get a little bit more clear on that. But before we go into that, I just kind of want to do a couple of little logistical things. So first of all, I hope you guys can hear me. If you can't hear me, drop me a comment. If you can hear me, drop me a comment or a like or something. I can see that there's people on there watching. I just want to know that you can actually hear me. Okay, well, nobody's saying anything, so I'll hope for the best. Hope you can actually hear me. And then the second thing is we're going to be going through, there we go. Somebody gave me a thumbs up. Thank you. Appreciate that. We're going to be covering some worksheets. So I know for myself, I'm way more engaged and way more focused, and I can actually be following along and filling stuff out and not sort of multitasking and watching a video and eating my lunch and watching my kids and doing all that. So I would highly encourage going to the Your Attic website. We have a free resource library there where you can download a couple of worksheets. If you didn't do it yet, you can always do it after or try and grab them now. I've dropped the link in the feed in the Facebook group so you can get straight to that. And it's just a great place to write down your ideas. I think sometimes stuff runs around in our head a lot, and the more that you can get it out and actually start getting it on paper, the more real it becomes. So get it out of your head, get it on paper, then start sharing in the group so people can start holding you accountable. And I really think it's going to be a way for us to foster a community and support each other. So try and grab those worksheets. And unless anybody has any questions, I'm gonna jump right in. So today we're gonna be talking about generating that product idea, and there's a lot of different ways to do this, but I've been working on this with a bunch of friends that are going through an experience of leaving their corporate jobs, really wanting to do something that they're excited about and that they're passionate about and trying to find that thing that lights them up. We've been grinding away for years, and now we want to grind away and see the benefits and really do something that speaks to our own personal values and really is something where we feel like we're making a difference in the world. So I really believe that the best way to come up with a product idea is to align it with your own personal values and vision for your life, so that when you are creating that product, you're really creating something that's meaningful to you. We're only on the planet for a short amount of time, so we really want to be doing something that's making the biggest impact and helping us really express who we are. So the first thing that I want to talk about is your values. So if you have the worksheet, take a look at that one there. It's the first one in the little PDF. And what the values is really about is really determining what are the key most important things to you in your own personal life. So I'm just going to pop that up here so I can walk you through that a little bit. I originally got the inspiration for these ideas off of his name is Dr. DeMartini. He does a lot of personal development work, and he has a full quiz that you can do on his website for free. I linked to it in one of my blog posts on the site. So if you want to go through and do the full thing, I think that's really valuable. But this is just kind of a quick way for us to draw out some of those ideas for you. So the first question that we have on the values worksheet is really, where do you spend most of your time? I think a lot of us say we have these values, but the truth is the way you live your life shows what you value in life. What you make time for and what you do is what you truly value. So I know that I have a conversation with a lot of my friends about how it's really important, and I really value health. And then they can look at me and be like, Lisa, you never go to the gym. They're just laughing at me last night about trying to set up a spin date for this weekend. And they were like, we're not even going to offer Lisa. That's so not her jam right now. So I could say it's one of my values. And the truth is, it's not something that I'm actually spending my time on right now. And so it's not a real value. It's not something that gets me up in the morning. I'm so excited to go. But there are other things that I do spend a ton of time on because I truly do value them. So one of them is fostering this community. I've been spending so much time working with entrepreneurs to try and help them realize their dreams. That's so important to me. As somebody that grew up with a single mom that really worked hard to provide for her family, it's important for me to give people the access point to be able to support their family and do it in a way that they're passionate about. My mom loves the work that she does, and I really want to be able to give particularly women an access point to do that in their lives so that they don't feel like they're just grinding it out for somebody else. So I totally value that. I value female entrepreneurs, and that's a lot of why I'm doing what I do. So write down some ideas on the worksheet about where you spend your most time. Be real. Sleeping doesn't count. Everybody does that. But do you spend a ton of time on Pinterest? Like, be real. What are you actually following? A little heart there. Thank you, buddy. What are you following? What are you pinning? Are you really just pinning recipes? That's what you love. You really are spending so much of your time thinking about what your family puts into your body because health is so important to you. Are you spending your time looking at what's going on the runways because high fashion and art is super important to you? Think about what those things are and write down kind of your top 3 ways that you spend your time. And chasing your kids is totally a valid answer. I think the first time I did this, it was about a year ago, and I was like, what? I actually spend all my time changing diapers, feeding my children, getting them dressed, like doing all of those things. And I was like, okay, right now, like in my life, my number 1 priority is my family and my children. And this changes over time where your focus is. So it's really important to keep revisiting this, but think about right now, what are you spending your time on? And if you want that to shift, it can totally shift. But it's hard to shift it if you're not aware of it. The next question is, how do you spend most of your money? So this is another real way to tell of, it's like putting your money where your mouth is. What you're spending your money on is what you truly value. So if you will open up your wallet and pay for an experience, but you won't open up your wallet and pay for a new pair of shoes, you probably value experiences over a new pair of shoes. If you'll open up your wallet for, I don't know, a couple other examples. If you'll open up your wallet for healthy food, but you won't open up your wallet for a sweater, sorry, a lot of clothing references, that's like my thing, then that healthy food is where you're valuing. If you'll spend it on your business, if you'll spend it on your family, like where is that money going? That can also be a telltale sign of what those things are that you truly value. Again, that can totally shift. Gonna be hard to shift it if you don't know what you're actually spending that on. So take a few minutes to think about that, write it down on the worksheet, try and write down like your top 3 things, and literally like dollar for dollar, I spend 90% of my money on this, I spend 30% of my money on this, like write it down on the list. The next one on there is, what do you think about the most? So this is one that we definitely don't talk about as much because it's all in our own head. But when you're sitting by yourself on your lunch break, or you're taking the bus to work, or you're falling asleep at night, what are those things that keep running through your head that you're always thinking about? Maybe it is your job. Maybe it's how to get out of your day-to-day job because you have something else that you want to do. Maybe it's about your kids. Maybe it's about your friends. Maybe it's about the new workout. Whatever those common things are that are running through your head when you're quiet, those are super important to listen to. So write down on the sheet what are 3 of those things that are running through your head, and start to watch where your mind kind of drifts to when you're in those quiet moments. And if you don't feel like you have those quiet moments, try and make space for them. Maybe start a meditation practice so that you can start seeing, okay, what are those things that come through? And it's different for everybody about when you get that quiet time. Some people like to walk in nature. Some people just need to be by themselves with a cup of tea. But give yourself that quiet time to let your mind run. I know that a lot of us are super busy and getting from thing to thing to thing. And I like to spend a lot of my time, even when last night I'm walking the dog, I put in my earphones and I'm listening to a podcast and I'm trying to learn something. But I'm also really trying to schedule time to just have no noise, be by myself, so that I can work through things in my mind, because that's super important. And I don't think we give ourselves enough time for that. The last one here on the values worksheet is what do you talk about most with others? So when you are out with your friends, or you are talking to your husband, your wife, your partner, what are the things that come up in your conversation? What, not only what do you talk about in terms of what you're excited about, because I know a lot of us have a lot of fears around sharing that. What do you complain about? So what do you not like in your life that you keep sharing over and over again that you need to make a change in? So I know for me, before I decided to leave my corporate job and go into doing this work of really supporting female entrepreneurs starting their own clothing line, I had complaints around this is funny, about FaceTime, but not this kind of FaceTime, about having to be in an office and be visible. I wanted to go home at 5 and I wanted to have dinner with my family. And I knew that the only way that I could actually have a face-to-face conversation with my boss was to come in early or to stay late. And that was not something that, based on where I was in my life and my values, was something that I wanted to do. So it wasn't so much that I was talking about how my value was being at home with my family, but I was talking about and complaining about how I was living in a way that I was unaligned with the way that I wanted to be living. Just send me a little heart, a little like or something if that's resonating with you guys. It would be awesome if some of you could actually drop in here if you're starting to see common themes. So this, once you do the worksheet, or even as you're just thinking through it, it's super helpful for you to go back and say, okay, hey, look, something that's come up over and over and over again is I'm always talking about wanting to work for myself, or I'm always talking about how I need more of a creative outlet, or I'm always talking about how doing things that promote a healthy lifestyle. I'm always exercising, spending my money on good food, spending my money on workout clothes. Like, I spend all of my focus on this one area, and you'll start to see those themes of things that truly matter to you and what your values are. So if anybody wants to share some of their values, I think that's super helpful for the group. You can either leave it in the comments right now or pop it in the Facebook group after. Just, I think getting it out there and sharing it with people really, really helps you to move forward. So the next thing, just jumping on to the next worksheet here, is the vision worksheet. So this is an exercise that I did a bunch while I was working at Lululemon, and I see there's other Lulus on here. So they're going to be very familiar with doing vision work. This is super important in terms of figuring out what you want to do with your life and your career. The ways that I found it to be most effective is when you are sitting by yourself quietly and you really take the time to close your eyes and imagine what your life is going to be 1, 5, 10 years from now. I think in the context that we're talking about around building your own clothing line, it's really helpful to think about where you want to be in 2 years. That's going to give you enough time to get through the hustle of the startup and really start to lay groundwork for what you want this to be in the future. So I'm just going to tell you a little story about my most powerful experience doing this. It was back in 2012, maybe. And I did it in a setting where it was a group of people sat together, closed our eyes, and we were walked through like leaving our body, super woo-woo, I know, I'm sorry about that. You see yourself floating above, then you come back and you look at yourself 10 years from now, and what do you see? What physical space are you in? Who are you with? What type of life do you have? And really look at where you want your life to be and what you need to do to get there. And what was so powerful for me in that moment was I saw my house, I saw my family, I saw kids that I didn't have yet, I saw my workspace that I didn't have yet. I had this whole idea of what I wanted my life to look like. And I was able to step back and say like, hey, wait a second. If that's what I want, why am I doing what I'm doing? Because what I'm doing right now is not getting me to what I want. And I came home from work and I told my husband that we're not waiting for all of our friends that are taking forever to get pregnant. We're going to try and have kids, and maybe they'll jump on the bandwagon when we get the ball rolling. So from that point, what was that, 4 years ago? We now have the 2 kids that I envisioned. We had the big dog that I envisioned. We have the house that I can walk to the beach that I envisioned. I have the studio in my backyard where I can work that I envisioned. So many weird things that the kids aren't super weird, but so many things that life just falls into place when you're clear on what you want. And nobody can get clear for you. And if you can't put it down on paper and say, this is what I want my life to look like, then you have no guiding star, no way to get there. So you got to be super clear on where you're moving, so that you can actually set a path and set tangible steps to get there. So that's a bit of an exercise that's going to take some time to sit down and think. I know some of you have done this work before. I see a couple of you that are on here right now that I know have done this vision work. And I'm going to challenge you to think about, are you creating what you really, really wanted? Are you living into that, or is there a fear in your life that's holding you back from doing that? And is that something that you can move through? So that's the vision work. Take some serious time to do that. Recommend doing it with a cup of tea. The next thing that we're going to jump into is talking about product niche. So this is why probably most people are jumping on the live. This is the clearest thing that we're talking about. So when I first started out in my fashion career and was in design school, I really struggled with my teachers at the time saying, you need to focus on a niche. And I didn't see that niche products were the ones that were super successful. I saw the big brands were the ones that kind of did everything for everybody. And I pushed back a lot, if you ask my teachers, on that idea. And what I have come to know after actually being in the work of working in this industry for 15 years is you can build a big organization in a lot, but first of all, it's probably not what you want. You probably don't want to be the next Gap. You probably want to have something that's a little bit more manageable. And when you're everything to everybody, people start to walk away and walk to the new everybody that is cheaper. So they'll walk away from the Gaps to go to the Walmarts. They'll walk away from the Walmarts to go to the Targets. And how are you going to be competitive in that landscape as a person possibly working in her studio? You can't compete with that kind of stuff. So what you're going to need to come up with is what's your unique advantage? What's your unique point of view that you can offer to your customer? And some ways to kind of dive into that are to think about what are things in the marketplace that you personally are looking for and can't find. There are, I know for some examples for me, you can see, I'm like a t-shirt and jeans kind of girl, and I am still killing myself because I cannot find the perfect t-shirt. I just want a white t-shirt that I can throw in the washer and the dryer, that's not going to get holes in it, that's not going to shrink, that I can wear day in and day out as part of my uniform, and that I can go back and buy again next season and they didn't change it to something else with some weird fabric or the new neckline that I'm supposed to like. I just want consistency and quality in a basic item. So I know for me, that's something that I can't find. And if I were to start up my own clothing line right now, that would be one of the things that I would go after, because I know that there's a market for it, because nobody else is doing it. And it's something that I would use and I would love and I would test the hell out of to make it sure it was perfect. So really, what's that first thing to think about is what can you not find? And I'm sure we all have something on our shopping list that we're like, why is this thing that seems so obvious not available in the marketplace? So write down some of those ideas. It doesn't have to be just something that you're looking for. If you hear people in your community talking about something over and over and over again too, I'd write those down. I think you're going to be better off finding something that you're looking for, because you are going to be the most passionate about it. But there's absolutely opportunity to serve another market as well. The next question I have on here is, what do you complain about? So same thing that we talked about a little bit in your values, is sometimes it's hard for us to know what you want. And you talk more about what you don't want. So I think if somebody's sitting here going, God, if I knew the perfect product, then that's what I would be making, Lisa. That's why I'm on the Facebook Live, is to find out what that thing is. So start looking at what you complain about. Do you complain and go, God, going back to that t-shirt example, why do my t-shirts get holes in them after like 5 washes? Or why do these t-shirts always shrink? Or why do I go back to buy it again next season and they've always changed the fabric or changed the neckline or done the cropped version? I don't want that. Those are your complaints. Pull those complaints away and start to say, okay, this is what I don't want. The flip side is what I do want. That's what you're looking for. So I think sometimes it's easier for us to vent about what's not working and really pull back the layers and say, okay, what is it that we need? So that's just another idea on how to generate some of those ideas. So I'd recommend writing that down on the sheet, and then maybe throwing some comments in if anybody wants to say what are some things that you're complaining about right now, even if it's not something you do want to go after. If it is something you want to go after and get feedback from other people of, am I crazy or am I the only one complaining about this? That's actually a good question. Am I the only one that complains about t-shirts? And if there's somebody out there that knows about the perfect t-shirt, let me know. I will buy it. The next one I have on the niche worksheet is, what inspires you? So again, this is a really personal question where you need to look at, what are those things that like you just lose your time in? You sit down and you start reading, or you start looking at imagery, or you start talking to somebody about it, and like an hour flies by and you're like, what just happened? Those are really, really, really important things for you to look at. You want to get lost in your work. You want to get lost in what you're doing. And it might not seem like it has a connection right away to a business, and that's okay. Brainstorm them, write them down. There are things that I get lost in, that when you think about the connection to the work that I do, it's not super clear, it's not perfect. Like, I am a Pinterest girl and I will get lost in there looking at like weird things like children's home decor. Like, I'm obsessed with it. And when I start to realize what that is, I realize that it's really important to me that things are aesthetically pleasing and playful. And when you look at like my website and my branding, that actually starts to translate a little bit. It's like the pink is like, me and my 4-year-old have the same favorite color. We love pink and like polka dots, and it's fun, and I'm going to be unapologetic about it. It's not super professional. I don't care. I love it. So some of those things that inspire you and make you excited to do it, like if I had to build just like a rando corporate website, it's not going to be as fun for me. So think about ways that you can add in what is fun and playful and exciting for you. We have some comments on here. We have from Jamie, I keep complaining about, I don't know what I want to make. I get it. So Jamie, maybe start thinking about actual products in your wardrobe that you're looking for. So what are you looking for that you can't find, or what do you have that you hate? And how would you change it? Those are really good ways to start. So thank you for posting that. I appreciate it. Sorry, going back to what inspires you. So yeah, look at all of the different places that sits. If you are also a Pinterest girl, we're on Pinterest, and I have a ton of articles, posts, beautiful imagery because I can't help myself, on the Your Attic Pinterest page. So just search for us on there, follow along. A bunch of stuff about how to promote yourself on social media. I pin everybody else's content too. So there should be a ton of good resources there, not just my resources, but everybody else, as well as some imagery. And I've also just set up a group board for people that want to promote their product. So if you want to get added to that, I'd love to have you on there. And then if we're all following it, it just broadens our reach of promoting product for each other. So I think that's kind of a cool thing to do. So yeah, jump on there, not to go down a rabbit hole, but that's inspiration. And then the last guy that we have on the niche worksheet here is what ideas align with your vision and values. So this is where the magic happens, as I like to say. This is where you really take, these are my values, this is the vision for my life that I want, and this is a product idea that is going to complement that, and I am going to be able to kill it because I am this person with these values, and you and your product brand actually start to come together as like a whole. So I want to tell you guys just a little bit of a story. I hope my bud that I'm talking about hasn't jumped off. She might. She's going for a doctor's appointment. Anyway, so I was chatting with a friend of mine yesterday, and she is starting up a swim line, and she was struggling, she's crazy, she's struggling with trying to figure out what her unique identifier is with her swim line. And she doesn't need to struggle because it's incredible. The product is like all about living a healthy lifestyle and bringing health as part of what you do on a daily basis. So she was really inspired when she was in Australia about how they kind of wore their swimsuit all day because being in and out of the water is how they live. And what she found was there were no bathing suits that gave her the comfort for her to wear it all day and gave her the beauty that she was really looking for if she is going to be like getting in and out of the pool with her kid and going to the beach and surfing with her husband. So she saw that there was a gap in that type of product and wanted to fulfill that. So it is a product that nobody else is doing, and she's uniquely qualified to do that because she's an incredible designer that's very technical and able to build out a really technical product. So she has like the product piece of it nailed. What she didn't have nailed, and we talked about yesterday a lot, was how actually a lot of the unique identifier of what her brand is going to be is her and her personal story. So I think sometimes it's easier to have somebody else seeing that for you. And we really talked about like what are some of her core values, and because she is like my bestie, I know what's really important to her. I know health and fitness are huge for her. And she was even talking at a point in time about, she's like, all I spend my time on is looking at like healthy recipes. And she's like, maybe I want to do that. Maybe I want to do something in the health food space. And what is super cool about where she landed with her product idea is she is so deeply her customer that she actually has like her life is the brand's content. So she, as an active mom who does all of the things that her customer does, has this like huge vault of information that her customer needs and is going to come to her for. So she can be sharing those recipes. She can be sharing her travel plans. She can be sharing the places to go when you're going in and out, like go do this swim and this hike and this is the suit that you wear for it. She knows all of that stuff because it's her. And she thinks that's normal because it's her. But from an outside perspective of somebody who would like to say that health is like a super important thing to her, is not. And I go to her for those kind of things. So if I do need a healthy recipe, I go to her. If I do want to know what the cool new class is, I go to her and I ask her. And she's so entrenched in that it doesn't seem to her like a unique proposition, but it really is. And her personality can really shine through in the brand. So I feel like she is like an amazing example of somebody who has taken her core values and said, I want to express a product vision that is going to support those values, and has come up with an incredible idea. Just going to look at my notes and see if there's anything that I missed there. Not really. Oh, look, remembered most of it. So yeah, it's really like the brand is an expression of her values. And if you can get to a place where you're so clear on what your values are and what products aren't supporting you in living those values, and you can create a product that does that, like you've hit the gold mine in terms of being able to create product that you're so excited about. You're going to jump out of bed every morning to go and work on this. And you're going to have a really, really unique access point to be able to educate that to your customer, because you know them inside and out, what they need. And content is so huge right now in terms of being able to speak to your customer and cut through the branding noise of what's out there. So if your customer can come to you as their go-to person for recipes, for workouts, for travel plans, and they're going to buy your swimsuit when they go on that, you're going to be their go-to. They're not going to go to anybody else. They're not going to go to Nike for that. They're going to come to you. So that's just a little example of how you can kind of tie all of these things back together. I hope that's helpful for you guys. Maybe throw up a little heart or a little thumbs up if you feel like you got something out of this. Again, this is my first Facebook Live, so feeling like it went pretty well. What do you think? I hope so. I just wanted to do a little plug again for the worksheets. If you guys can jump onto the website and download those, I would highly encourage you getting into action about this, writing down your ideas and then coming back and sharing them in the group. There is so much power in putting your ideas out into the world so that people can support you. And that's what we're here for. So thanks so much for following along. I hope you guys got some value out of this. I'm going to try my best to see how we can save this video on the Facebook group and possibly upload it somewhere. So if you do want to rewatch it or share it with a friend, you'll be able to do that. But that's some tech stuff that I'm going to have to figure out right now. So thanks again for jumping on for my first live. Really appreciate it. Hoping to do these more often. Wouldn't it be cool if I could do this every week? If you didn't find this helpful at all, tell me that too, and I won't waste my time on it. But if you did find it helpful, I'd love to hear so that I can start really serving you guys in the best way possible to help you move forward. Thanks so much. Have an awesome day. Bye, guys.